Who's got the power?
We got the power.
What kind of power?
Union power.
Who's got the power?
We got the power.
What kind of power?
Union power.
When we vote,
We win.
we vote.
We win.
We vote.
We win.
We vote.
We win.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are we doing? Ready to go?
Yes.
Great. All right. Good morning. My name is Ted Papageorge. I am Secretary Treasurer of the Culinary Workers Union, Local 226. And we're here to talk today about Nevada Legislative 2023 priorities and launch a campaign to win neighborhood stability and establish a Nevada State Lottery to fund youth mental health and education. One job should be enough. You're going to hear about this from us a lot this year. One job should be enough to own a home, to pay your rent, to take care of your family, to have great health care for you and your family, and to provide a quality education for your kids. Culinary Union is continuing our campaign to win neighborhood stability by taking a stand against corporate Wall Street landlords and by fighting to protect Nevadans from being pushed out of our homes. The legislature needs to protect Nevadans by tying rent increases to the cost of living with a 5% cap, protecting tenants from unreasonable fines and fees, and reforming evictions. The Culinary Union is also advocating for the Nevada legislature to create a state lottery that would dedicate sustainable funding to youth mental health and education. The Culinary Union has a long history of fighting and winning for working families in Carson City, and this year is no different. One job should be enough to have a roof over our heads and assure Nevada's youth have quality mental health care, access, and education. Just like we have throughout our 88 years here in Nevada, we will stand together and win a future where we all can thrive. So Nevada must invest in mental health and education. Nevada's mental health system has been underfunded for decades and has been the worst in the nation for years. It is particularly bad for Nevada's children. In 2021, the American Academy of Pediatrics, American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, and Children's Hospital Association together declared a national state of emergency in children's mental health, and the U.S. Surgeon General issued an advisory calling on the country to address the youth mental health crisis urgently. The pandemic only exacerbated the situation. Youth mental health is now the parents' biggest concern, and 40% said in a recent national poll that they're extremely or very worried that their kids struggle with anxiety or depression. We must take action. In Nevada, the numbers on education are stark. Nevada public schools are among the most poorly funded in the U.S., according to a 2020 study by the Education Law Center. Nevada funds its students $4,300 less per pupil than the national average of $15,400, the study found, giving it a ranking of 47th and the funding level. In 2021 and 22, Mental Health America ranked Nevada as the worst in the nation for overall mental health based on the prevalence of mental illness and access to care. Nevada received a D+ on the Children's Mental Health Report Card and F's for access to mental and behavioral care, adolescent substance use disorders, emotional disturbance, and juvenile justice. This has to change. And it's clear that long-term capacity building for mental health and education is needed, and a specific source of consistent funding is critical for this. Nevada needs sustainable long-term funding to establish, educate, continue and expand programs to train, recruit, and retain mental health and teaching professionals. So right now, Nevada is currently only one of 5 states without a lottery. Enacting a state lottery is a dependable source of revenue for nearly every state in the country. And in a state where gaming is a cornerstone of the economy, it is a relic of the past to continue the ban on a state lottery that is present in the Nevada Constitution. As one of the largest organizations of parents in Nevada, the Culinary Union believes it is imperative that Nevada lawmakers address our mental health care and education system. And so the Culinary Union will be launching a campaign to engage with voters right now about support for increased youth mental health funding and education funding. I'd like to introduce a young man who works as a casino porter on the Las Vegas Strip, Ivan Lopez. Ivan?
Hi everybody,
My name is Ivan Lopez. I'm a casino porter at the Caesar Palace. I'm 20 and I've been there for about a year now. I am a proud union family. My mom's been there for 8 years and she's a uniform attendant. I moved to Las Vegas when I was in 4th grade. I didn't speak English and I couldn't really make friends with much of the kids there. But as part of the school integration program, once a week I would go and speak to a counselor. I didn't realize it until very recently how much that helped me out. Talking to someone about what's going on just throughout my day, even though I was a kid, I had no idea. I was just speaking. But the stressor of my day-to-day life, I am very grateful for that, and I wish more schools had that. Throughout high school, up to high school, I was pretty well adjusted. Unfortunately, due to my parents' work schedule, I had to babysit my little brother's a lot. This caused my social life to take a hit. That was around the time my symptoms started showing. But at that time, I had no idea what these symptoms were. I just felt a certain way, and that's it. My grades started to fall. My whole life, I've always had good grades. Now my grades took a hit, and I was feeling stressed. I was sleeping. I was sleeping in class. I was sleeping excessively at home. I was sleeping all the time, and I had to take care of my little brothers. So I thought, this is an emergency. I need to get my grades up. I need to do better. I never thought about how I was feeling, what was going on. And my grandma, my mom, they were never taught about mental health. Throughout their whole life, it was all just, life is tough, so suck it up, go through it. That was prevalent. But after I explained to my mom how I was feeling, and she noticed that my grades were slipping, she decided to take me out and see a therapist. Due to the culinary insurance, we were able to find a therapist. It took a while. We found one therapist. It was an hour away, an hour there, and an hour back. At that time, I felt like I was just stealing 3 hours out of my mom's day. I was just wasting her time. But going there, talking to this therapist, I talked to them 3 times before the pandemic, and 1 time phone call. When I finally got to see her, it's common knowledge. She didn't say much, but she said a lot of common knowledge that now I feel like everybody should know. She told me that this feeling is called this. This feeling is called anxiety. When I feel this way, it's depression. When I feel this way, I need to do this. It's not normal to feel this way, and you should look into it. This is something that my mom had no idea. She also learned along with me. The pamphlets in the lobby, even just a pamphlet, was super helpful in understanding when I felt a certain way. This was the beginning of an episode. This was when I was about to go to sleep and not wake up for another 10 hours, 11 hours. Even just the pamphlets helped me realize this much. During the COVID pandemic, that put a lot of extra stressors on families like mine. We need more therapists in more locations. More than just one, in more than just one location. To be able to access the mental health support they need. We need to educate parents and children on the current mental health crisis. We also need more resources in school for children who lack access to mental health care. I see my friends and other young people struggling with their mental health. It's tough to see. I was not the only one. I asked around, and we were all going through the same thing. We had no idea what it was. I ended up telling my friends, this is what I learned at therapy. They could relate, each and every one of them. We have to take this crisis seriously and make changes now before it's too late for each kid. and authority. I support the state lottery to fund access and improvements to Nevada mental health and behavioral services. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Mental health might be invisible to see, so it's a lot harder to see or identify, but if left untreated, it can have severe consequences on every aspect of our lives. Funding youth mental health is an investment to the future of our society. Something has to change, and I support the amendment to the Nevada's Constitution to establish a state lottery. I'm asking Nevada lawmakers to pass the amendment to address the youth mental health crisis. I think this is currently the best way we can save lives and make Nevada a better place for everybody. Thank you.
My goodness, you are so brave. Ivan, thank you so much. What courage it takes. We just got to give Ivan another big round of applause. For you and having the courage to stand up, Ivan. We're not going to let you down. Let's talk about neighborhood stability, because it's essential and it is our right. We have a right to safe and stable neighborhoods. As homeowners, it is critical to know our neighbors. We cannot have a churn of families coming and going. As renters, we must know that we can have stability and be able to afford to house our families and have opportunities to save and own a home one day. We think the goal of these institutional investors that are preying on the Nevada market and others throughout the country is to buy up apartments, single-family housing, and Airbnbs, jack up the rents, create a generation of seniors, middle-class families, young families who are renters that are at the mercy of these massive institutional investors. We are not going to stand for this, and we're going to fight back. We have some facts. There's not a single state, metro area, or county in the United States where a typical minimum wage worker can afford a two-bedroom rental, according to a 2021 study out of reach, the high cost of housing by the National Income Housing Coalition. We have some examples. I'll run through some of them. Thank the press, you have it in our release. An apartment complex on Spring Mountain, the Tides, owned by Los Angeles, California-based Tides Equities, raised monthly rent for one bedroom from $709 to $1,359, a 92% increase over a 3-year period from 2020 to 2023. In Las Vegas, an apartment complex, Amber Ridge, owned by Westland Real Estate Group of Long Beach, California, went from charging $830 a month for a 2-bedroom, went to $1,300 a month at 57%. Rent for a 3-bedroom at the same complex went from $973 a month to $1,800 a month, up 85% over a 3-year period, same period, 2020 to 2023. An apartment complex called Vintage Point, owned by private equity firm Blackstone, raised rents for a 2-bedroom from $1,079 to $1,614, 50% increase over a 3-year period, same period. An apartment Positano, owned by Ovation Development of Las Vegas, increased rent for some 2-bedroom units from $1,260 a month to $1,975 a month, a 57% increase over a 3-year period, same period. In 2022, we surveyed our own members, culinary union members. 28% said they pay a monthly rental assurance fee. 21% said their rent had gone up $500 or more. 21% said they are charged monthly fees in addition to rent. 15% said they pay more than $100 in fees each month. So I'd like to have one of our leaders speak on that. I'd like to introduce Carlos Padilla. He's a baker at the Treasure Island. Carlos.
Good morning. My name is Carlos Padilla. I moved here over 30 years ago for the Las Vegas dream. I've been in Las Vegas. I have seen Las Vegas grow to where it is today. I have worked for Treasure Island as a baker and a proud culinary union member for almost 30 years. I've been a renter for a long time in the Henderson, Las Vegas area. I remember my rent was $1,200 a month for a 3-bedroom just a couple years ago. Now I'm paying $1,675 with another recent letter from the landlord that will be going up to $1,800 a month, starting next month. I asked the landlord, maybe it was a mistake. They told me there is no law in this state that says that the landlord cannot raise the rent prices more than they have. Recently, it has affected me tremendously financially. Now I'm budgeting between rent, food on the table, and other necessities that I need for my family. I would love to own a home one day, but with the way things are going, I won't be able to save up for it. I got involved politically with the Culinary Union for the midterms, not only for myself, but for the thousands of others that are in the same situation as me. We knocked on over 1 million doors with hundreds of other canvassers since March of 2022 to educate and let others know that we can do something about it. I am proud of the work that I have done with my union. We supported candidates that supported neighborhood stability and fighting for working families to stay in their homes. Affordable housing should be for everyone who wants to own a home. Rental prices and application fees are making it almost impossible these days. We know how to win. We helped re-elect Senator Catherine Cortez Masto here in Nevada. Then myself and others went to Georgia for the runoff election to help re-elect Senator Raphael Warnock. I am proud that my union is fighting to make sure people can afford to stay in this town, and I know that we are going to win this fight. So I urge the Nevada legislation to pass neighborhood stability and for the governor to do the right thing and sign it into law. Thank you.
All right. So I want to call out a few folks just because we have, we're working closely, and we just want to say thank you to some of the legislators that are carrying some of these bills. C.H. Miller on the lottery bill in the Assembly. And then we have a slew of bills. Neighborhood stability by Senator Pat Spearman. Local control over rent policy bill by Senator Edgar Flores. Eviction reform bill by Assemblywoman Chandra Summers Armstrong. Application fees and transparency by Senator Fabian Doñate. And I want to say, just in closing, a few words, then we'll certainly accept questions. The homes are for families, not for institutional investors and Wall Street landlords. We're not going to stand by while corporations create a generation of renters and destroy the American dream of owning a home. Our children are being left behind in education and health care, specifically mental health. And we're not going to stand for it. We're going to fight back. We don't have any time for platitudes and aspirational goals. We're not interested in hearing any of that. We expect results from this legislature and our governor, and we are very happy to work closely with both. So I want to say thank you, and we're open to any questions. Thank you very much.